So here we are at part 2 of our construction clips for our beautiful Classix Nouveau Primavera Dress. And the first clip I showed you how to construct bodice. Pretty easy. I just wanted to show you that front-facing issue, which is kind of quite crucial to this. And the skirt is done in a similar but not same principle, as in the top edge is gathered in to meet another edge that's underneath. Now, you can see the beautiful fabric, ooh, lovely vintage fabric, and then you can see this rather offensive, really not very nice lining at all. I chose this because it's kind of a flesh-y colour, if you happen to be my flesh colour, and it's very lightweight and very drapey, so it's not going to interfere with the drape of the skirt. So this doesn't really mean a lot to you. You're kind of looking and going, yeah, well, whatever. But I'll show you the back pieces because they may be of more interest. Now the back has got your centre back seam because of course you've got a zipper. So there is one back. Well, actually, it's the pair. I'm just going to lay it out on one here. Okay. There is your centre back seam like this, and obviously you put your zipper in through there. Let's flip it over. It's actually got more room on this side. Okay, centre back seam. Now this is the pocket facing. That's going to be attached to the back of the skirt, and this little number here is attached to that. What you end up doing is you end up having a back with kind of a pocket thing and a front with a pocket thing that goes all the way over to the centre front. And I've done that because I wanted to keep the front of the skirt kind of laying nice and flat and not kind of poofing out everywhere. So what I'm going to do is put together my front with my pocket piece, my back with my pocket pieces, and then you will see how they all go together. It's very, very quick, it's very, very easy, but it's one of those things that I think once you see it you go, oh, obviously, and if you don't see it, it's always a little bit tricky to understand. So I'm kind of about a third of the way through the skirt already. It really doesn't take very long to do this. I've prepared the hem facing, which is just a loop. Now you have an option on this, these dresses. You can do the hem facing like this, or you can just do a narrow hem like I did on the sleeves. I'm using the hem facing because I know this fabric, much as it's nice and drapey, has a slight tendency to bounce a little bit, and I want this to kind of weigh it down a little bit at the hem. So I'm doing the hem facing, but it's really your choice. So the hem facing is prepared. Here is the front of the skirt. Now, remember when we did the bodice? Well, I didn't see the bodice clip first, I need to go and see that. But anyway, when we did the bodice, we did some gathering from a notch to a notch. We're going to do the same thing on here. So I've run the gathering stitches through here, but I haven't drawn them up yet. Because when you turn it over, you see the really offensive lining. It's so horrible. You see this, and it's going to basically gather up to meet this. Now, one thing I should make you aware of is this. I'm using the prototype pattern. The prototype is what I did when I was fiddling around with it, and I've since tweaked it a tiny bit. Nothing for you to be concerned about, but you know, it doesn't change in any way. Apart from the fact that this piece on the real pattern is a little bit smaller, so you'll get more gathering. That's all you need to know. You'll have approximately 2 inches-ish of extra on each side to gather, depending on what size you use. Who knows? So that's the front, and the back. The back, I haven't done the centre back seam yet. There's a reason. Okay, that's how the back looks. I know, it looks ridiculous, doesn't it? It looks really, really strange. But basically, it's going to flip around, and that's going to be the pocket facing. So that's going to be the piece that your hand goes into, like when you see your hand going in there, like that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just pin the centre back together, and then I'm going to pin together the whole skirt formation. You'll see how it's like a one hit, up the side seams, around the front, and down the other side. Done. Okay, I thought I'd quickly show you how you lay this out to pin it together, because it's a little bit kind of strange, you haven't done it before. Alright, these are the backs here with the pocket facing and the other piece of the pocket there. And it's against the front, obviously right side to right side, and here are the other pieces of the pocket attached to the front. So what you're going to do is you're going to pin up from one hem, or pin down from the bottom of the pocket, it doesn't really matter which, to the pocket. So let's just do that very, very quickly. I'm going to do this. Like this. And then just flip it so everything's kind of tucked away inside. So you've got that, you've got like a loop of skirt and a loop of pocket, if that makes sense. And then you're just going to pin these together all the way around the edge. And one of the reasons I use this hideous lining is it's knit and it doesn't fray, so I don't need to worry about overlapping the bottom. It'll be perfectly fine without. So I'm just going to very, very quickly just pin it together so you can get to see the formation of it. It's kind of simple. Once you've done it, it's like, oh, okay, I can do that. Now, that, oops, she says laughingly, that is one side of it. Up the side seam, there's the side seam. Around here, you're going to go round here with the edges of the pocket and down the other side. And that's all you have to do. As long as you match up your pocket openings here, you're good. So I'm going to do that, and when I flip it out the other side, you'll see that the skirt is kind of almost done. It's really easy. So now I've almost completed the skirt, and really it was a one-step process. Let me turn it inside out and you'll see what I mean. There's the front of the skirt, and you see when you sew it, you basically go, I actually start from centre front, down here, round here, and down the side seam, and then you repeat it on the other side, and that's it. The whole pocket assembly flips to the front. Now, something you must bear in mind, if you would, on this one the lining is gathered through the waist. On your one it won't be, it'll be smooth. This is my prototype pattern and I was still fiddling around with it, but it still works, and I still got it all kind of gathered up to the nice, the right amount. And I've also attached the hem facing and just kind of understitched that and stitched that up. I have a kind of a theory with stitching hems. Really, hand stitching is for decoration only. I don't like hand hems unless I've got an interlining or something I can really get in there and hem it with. Because I know that as soon as this is laundered or dry cleaned or whatever, the hem's going to fall down and it'll really, really annoy me. So I basically just top stitched it here. And you've probably noticed while I've been sewing this, I'm not using a matching thread. Mainly I can't find one. This is a really iffy, sort of strange colour. Can't find one, but I've used kind of a neutral beigey tone and it's just kind of sunk into it, so we're all good. So that's the inside of the skirt, that's the inside front. I have stitched together from the hem up to just below where the zip's going to be, just to kind of seal it up. And we've now got the skirt prepared, and now we are going to go ahead. Oh, the other thing to say, sorry, is I pinned down these pockets. If I open up here, you can see my hand goes in there. There is the pocket facing in the fabric, and there's that hideous pocket lining, but you don't see it because it's all tucked away in here. I always pin them down because I want to treat this top edge as though it's one. I don't want to have all these pockets flippy flapping around, so I've pinned it down and I've stitched it across the top. So now I'm going to go ahead, and what I'm going to do is basically just join the bottom edge of the bodice, the top edge of the skirt, all the way around, and press the waist seam open, and that means you're going to have your seam allowances flat like that, which is the right thing to do for this. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the invisible zipper, the neckline facing, and stitch down the inside facing, and we are done. Okay, so I've just joined the bodice to the skirt through the waist seam, and you can see we've got all this nice gathering. It's all very pretty, and there'll be a little bit of basting stitches, a few basting stitches to remove, like this, which is fine, but that's just a normal thing to do when you've got gathering. Now, the next thing we have to do is put the invisible zipper in, and I've already started that, and how you do it is this. You baste together your centre back seam from the bottom of the waist notches to the top, kind of. The key here is you must make sure that your back seams, your horizontal seams, match up. If they don't, it's going to look very homemade, and I don't mean that in a good way. I don't mean in a oh, lovingly crafted and beautifully handmade. I mean like homemade. We really don't want that. So make sure your seams match up this one, and then, you know, this is kind of almost the classic way of doing the invisible zipper. You open the zipper up and you press the coils flat, and then I've just pinned it on one side of the seam allowance only, with the coils going right up against the seam. So I'm going to stitch that on with a zipper foot very, very near to here, and then we'll do the second side. Now notice my cunning plan. I've got about an inch of zipper and half an inch of zipper tape up there. There's a reason for that. You'll see it on the next step. Let's do it. Okay, so I've put in one side of the zipper. Let me just unzip it for you. Okay, so that side's attached and that side is not. Now normally when you do a classic invisible zipper, what you would do is you would undo the basting and you do the second side. Well, I'm not going to do that because I don't feel like doing it. And actually what I want is I want my horizontal seam to stay where I've put it. And if you remember, well, you may have seen one of our other clips for doing a fly front, a zipper fly front, and we basically let the zipper tape go where it wanted to go. Well, that's what we're going to do here. I've zipped it up, that's why I've got my little extra bit of a top so I can get the pull out of the way. And I'm just going to push it flat I'm going to sew it to the seam allowance here with the zipper foot right up against it. Of course, I'm going to have to do that. I want the dress away from it, so we're going to do that. So I'm going to do that, and then we'll undo the basting, and we'll see what happens, shall we? Okay, so our little experiment worked, as you can see. Invisible zip, it's invisible, looking good. Now, the last thing we have to do to complete this is to complete the back neck facing. And of course, we've got an invisible zipper, so I'm going to show you how to do that. It's not hard, it's one of those things you just want you to get your head around it. It's like, oh, okay, fine. So, I'm going to get Jerry to come around here and zoom in and just have a look at what I'm doing up close. Okay, so remember when we did the bodice, we only put half or a chunk of the front facing on, and I just pinned the shoulder seams together, shoulder seam on the facing, shoulder seam on the bodice. And now here's what we want to do. We want to bring this around here, we want to attach it to this tape here, because this is what you're looking to achieve. There is the inside, and what you want is for it to look like, she says fiddling crazily, you want it to look like that. That's what you want to achieve, obviously with the neck edge cleaned off. So your best way to achieve this is to basically just pin around here up to about 2 inches before the neck, and then flip it back like this. You are using your seam edge here, that's your fold, that's your finished edge there. So you want to go back and to there like that. See, I've already trimmed mine off. So you're just going to sew it to the tape like this, using about 1/4 of an inch seam, give or take, to see how it will lay flat. So I'm going to do that and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, so you can see I've joined the back facing to the zipper tape, and then once you flatten it out, you'll find that the zipper tape area pops over like this. So you've got maybe, a scant 1/4 of an inch like this, and that piece there, that's your centre back fold. So you just continue your zipper all the way around, and when you turn it out, which I will shortly when I've clipped the corners, you will get a perfect neck edge. So let me go ahead and finish the neck facing and you can have a look. Okay, so there's the back neck facing completed. See, it's all sealed down in here. Yes, I have some threads to trim off, but the last thing we have to do is this. This is our the shoulder edge of our inside facing, and what we really want to do is to tack it down. So all we're going to do is just do some little bits of stitching, just 2 or 3 stitches, that corner and that corner, onto the seam allowance of the sleeves there, and that's going to hold it down and stop it flapping around, which would be really, really nice. So I'm going to do that, and then of course, if you haven't already seen our clip that shows all of these dresses, you have to go and see this to see how it looks on. Okay, thank you.